Alright guys, welcome back to the RC Guru YouTube channel. Today we're going to talk about something small that a lot of you might not think about. But it's one of the first things I think about when I began customizing my RC four-wheel drive Trail Finder 2. You need to have leaf suspension for this. If you'll notice, I'll pull the body up. But this little simple mod, it's called a reverse mount spring hanger conversion kit. I know that's a mouthful, but basically what it's doing is taking this sloppy mount from the front and it's putting it in the back, and it's putting this hard mount that you build up front, and it gives you new front and back because they're completely different. So the part number is RC four-wheel drive, part number ZS1923Y. I don't know if that would ever focus, but anyway, I'll get a B-roll, a picture of it, and send it in and put it in editing. So, right there. First thing you gotta do is you gotta pull the body up if you wanna work on your truck. I haven't introduced this truck yet, so it doesn't really have a name. Alright, then you got leaf spring suspension. All stock Yoda 2s. So you see the front, see how the truck compresses? So right with the shackle in the front, right here, the moving shackle, when you hit something, the truck wants to push through it. So the wheel doesn't want to lift up at all. But you can get up and down movement. But it's so hard to try and like physically drive over anything because the wheel, it reacts this way, the way the shackle is. And when you reverse the springs and put the hard shackle in the front, it gives the wheel the ability to push up. See how it's when I push up, it's going forward just a little bit. It's going to reverse that movement so that when you hit something, your wheel kicks backwards. So you're going to be able to hit a bump and drive over it. And that's why it's so important. Now, I haven't modified the leaf springs or anything on this just quite yet. And I'm going to leave it stock for as long as possible. It's all RC four-wheel drive. It's a Mojave 2 kit. It's got Yoda 2 axles, their leaf springs, everything. It was a kit build. And yeah. So the first thing you gotta do is open up your product. Shackle reverse kit is what this is called. It's gonna come with a bag of silica gel. You're not going to want to eat it. You're going to want to throw that away. So these are what the shackles look like. These are what the shackles look like. And they go right on the front. Put a little horn on the front. Like that. Can you see like that? You put that on the front, just like that. It hanging out. And then it moves your wheel forward just 2 millimeters, maybe. And then it flips not the leaves stay. It's just the parts that connect to the leaves. So it's really not that big a deal. And then they say if you have any problems, contact RC four-wheel drive. Real simple. So we're going to look at our parts here. We got our shock, our front hangers, I guess we'll call them. And we got our rear, I don't know, wingies. New hardware. And then you'll notice there's some really odd brass. Well, the brass is unique to the RC4 wheel drive 2 chassis, when you take this hard mounted surface off and you exchange it to this to the Shackle side, the inside has an indent for the double lapped metal, and they give you 2 brass pieces so that your perch piece here can move freely. So that's nice. So let's get the wheels off the front so we can see what we're doing a little better. That's my furnace, if you hear it in the background. Alright, now you can look at the front, you can get a little better look at what's going on suspension wise. Get my hand out of the way. Almost need better light in here, don't we, guys? Alright, and always use a tire. And prop yourself up so you got a nice little area to work. I need to work kind of like this. So we're just going to remove the front. We're going to take this bumper bracket right off, and then we're going to get everything removed before we put anything new on. So you start at the front. You want to move your bumper bracket. It is 2 mils. 2 mil drivers, taper head screws either side. Yes, you can still run a bumper with this setup. It's just easier to take this off. Less stuff to get in the way. Keep your parts and your screws kind of together. Then you'll kind of remember when they go back together. If you guys have like the little hobby cross, they work great because you're going to need it pretty well everywhere. These are a 2.5 mil screw. See, that doesn't fit. That doesn't fit because they're special shoulder screws. There's actually no thread right there. There's just thread on the end. So you're going to want to remove this and this whole. You might as well take the whole thing apart. 2.5. I'll bring you back when I got this all torn apart. Alright guys, I got her all torn down. Had to pull the transmission out, loosen it. So it's just sitting here. So I could get at the side shackles. So these are called shackles. And then what these are called are perches. So when you do a shackle reverse, you essentially delete this hard mount from the back, right here, and you move it to the front with this RC4 wheel drive shackle reverse kit. Now, we might as well just start installation. Because I got everything all tore out. I had one screw that was an absolute bear to come out. Did I throw it right out? I might have. I had to grind it in half and everything. It was horrible. Anyway, so you'll see these little fellas. They just slide right on the front of the rail. Just like that. That's what we're going to do. Comes with the hardware. Comes with the brass bushings. You're going to want the motor and everything anyway, so you can get your brass bushings on the inside. And you'll notice that these shackles are a lot shorter in length than the stock shackles. You see that? See the difference? So longer is better. because we want more suspension travel. So we're not going to use the new shackles that comes with them. They're shorter because the whole gear gets moved forward. You'll notice, remember how I showed you the wheel and it didn't want to go up and over? It wanted to go in and over. Anyway, let's get throwing this stuff together. We'll use our old parts, new parts, and get this on the go. You guys can watch. There's an okay screw, I think. Two for the servo. I can just go right back in. Catch your screws. If they fall, then you know how to pick them up. There's the tip. So I don't need the servo to wiggle anymore. I had to heat up the Loctite of the soldering iron and melt it through this screw here on this side. Holds your servo brace in. It was so bad. Oh my goodness. It's so bad. So we need an extra screw now because that other one died. Look, there we go. Perfect. And it's not stripped. Excellent. And then that'll be used to hold this guy in. So you just get these perches screwed into the front here. You screw them right into the area where the servo goes, the cross brace. That'll be your first point. And then you take their new hardware and you go from the outside to the inside. Take a lock nut and continue on. Probably the most important screw right there. The one that clamps the whole section together and gives it any bit of strength. If you're ever having problems with the nuts, you just take them and drop them in there. And as long as you don't flip them over, they hold them for you. Leaf spring suspension. My personal favorite, just for realism type of deal. And you're not going to win too many crawling competitions with the stock setup, but you're going to get that look you want. And then you see, can you see, oh, my hands are in the way. See how the hard point now has been moved to the front? So when you hit something, now the wheel can go up like this. When before, you had to like hit it and I don't know, get it to move out of the way for it to go up and over. Now, mechanical pivot action. We're using mechanical leverage now. So we put the leaf up front so it can rock forward. and drive over things. When before it was going forward to drive over things, and that just doesn't work. So I'm just gonna get this kind of out of the way because the brass bushings, they kind of don't like to be friends. So, and I showed you these. Don't lose them, they're small. You need 4 shackles. 1, 2, so I reuse my old ones because they're longer, like I said. Casca? Where's that? Oh, no. Strange. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3. This type of stuff's not supposed to happen on camera. There's the. Oh, sorry. There's the screw. I had to cut apart because it was too much Loctite. I had to heat it right up. It was filled full of Loctite. Alright, garbage, 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 garbage. I don't know. Cool. Alright, there it is. Shackle reverse kit installed. Why? Because now that the hard point is at the front, the shackle or the pivot point, when you hit something now, like this, like when you go to hit a tire, it can flex and arch up. Now with the shackle on the back, if you were to go back over something, it really doesn't wanna, doesn't wanna work. But on the front, you hit something and your tire can now hit it and roll over it. And if you do one modification to your TF2 and one alone, other than Loctite, should be the shackle reversal kit. It makes your steering so much stiffer. It makes all your geometry proper. We'll get the tires sewn on here. Assemble this baby back together. And the only thing you should really have left is 2 shoulder screws and 2 of the hard point mounts. Some people call them like a Z box. They have like a Z. Yeah, they're bent. Z box shackle. Maybe. Some people call them. My tires thrown back on. I use scale hubs instead of screws, or instead of nuts most of the time. They have a nut in them. They just look a lot better from the outside. See? Yes, those are plastic method, also known as the toenail 105s. They're hard to get, but with the military theme, they look awesome. So now when you hit something, where are we at? Now when we hit something, and we're driving along, we have RC4WD drive box. Now when we hit that, you'll see the front tire. It can actually compress and go over. So you're just driving, and we couldn't do this before. You push from the back tire. See it compress and go over? I know I'm holding the box, but now look how hard it is to do backwards. See, the tire doesn't want to go up and over. But now with the shackle point in the front, you can just hit it, go up and over. And you get a little more flex out of it too. So like that's stock. RC4 drive flex. Not horrible. 4.4 size tires. And yeah, that's the leaf spring tech today. Longer shackles. Or yeah, shackles, because the other side's called a perch. These are perches. Yeah. Let me get our body going back on. I do the quick mount grub screw trick. If you don't know what the grub screw trick is, normally you would screw this body on through these two holes, but I just put 2 grub screws, so you just have to pull it out like a skirt and push it over, and there it's held. Let me get that out of the... There we go. Where can you guys see it? There we are. Smoke some of this stuff out of all. Great. Now look at that. So now when you hit something like that, your tire can roll up on it. Okay? It compresses the leaf and lets the tire go back and up. See how I told you it would be a little bit more forward? The stance now? That's no problem, because when it goes inwards, when it compresses, the tire goes back into itself. Now if we were to measure the wheelbase, it'd probably be just a little bit longer. And that's totally fine with me. I think it looks better. It's going to rub in the front a little bit, that's okay. It's not going to rub in the back anymore. That pretty well wraps our video up for today. See the shackles in the front? Some people like to say they hit things because they're like teeth that stick down. But if you look at them, right there, see how they're sharp? You can take a file, just round them right over. And then that way there's no hard point that sticks into the ground. There's a rollover point. 4.4 inch super swampers, 1.9 inch tires, gives it a really nice look. I'll do an introduction on this build later when it's actually finished, but we'll keep doing little stuff. This is our leaf spring tech talk for today. Why do you need a reverse shackle kit? Why should that be the first thing you do when you buy an RC4 drive, if you want to drive it and enjoy it? Anyway, like I explained, it's a necessity. Alright guys, like, subscribe. If I haven't said that before, please subscribe. It really helps to the channel. Like, it really helps too. Thank you. And we'll catch you on the next one. Peace.